Checking the in-train now on BBC1, your opinions in Points of View with Chris Searle.
Hello. Yes, Auntie's multi-million-pound facelift is up, up and away. There goes another one. The corporate identity of the 90s has arrived. What do we think of it?
What have you done to the logo? It looks awful. It looks so primitive, like you've gone back to the 1940s. And where have the colours gone?
We think that the new icon at the bottom of the screen looks really old-fashioned and rubbish.
The old icon of the one in the top left of the TV screen was much better and looked more modern.
Has Auntie gone colourblind? I came home Monday evening to watch the 6 o'clock news, only to have my eyeballs fried by that dreadful new colour scheme you have adopted.
If the BBC have seriously spent £5 million on such a dire piece of television, they've been hoodwinked. My 5-year-old son would gladly have loaned you a balloon, which you could have filmed flying over his garden for 50 pence.
Clearly a corporate identity crisis. There were some lone voices. Here's one of them.
Since I've got a feeling a lot of people will be complaining about the new BBC logos and BBC1 idents, I'd just like to say I like them.
So do I, quite. And I'm told there are going to be more variations on the balloon theme in the future, 47 altogether. As for old-fashioned, perhaps it's the 75th anniversary coming up that's put the BBC in retro mood. Those letters for the BBC logo, incidentally, were designed in the 1920s. Now, to something which went down much better.
I've just been watching The Fix. It's got to be one of the best programmes I've ever seen created by the BBC. It was well presented, well acted, and one of the most brilliant programmes I've seen for years.
This was the true story of a match-rigging scandal that rocked the football world in 1963. Tony Kaye, the big star of the day, rashly joined the scam. Then the press got hold of it. Michael Elphick is the football-loving journalist, and Steve Coogan is the tabloid hack who doesn't let morality get in the way of a good story.
You threw the game, didn't you? Saw your chance. Easy money.
Easy, eh?
Come on. Admit it, Tony. You're bent.
Yeah. I am bent. The whole stinking game is. But you know what? At least I love it. You've broken my heart, Tony. You know that. Now go and break mine.
Jason Isaacs says Tony Kaye, who was jailed for 4 months and banned from professional football for life. The real Tony Kaye was on grandstand the same day, recalling for Gerald Sinstadt the memories of that fateful day.
The painful bit has gone out of after 30 years or so, longer. And I just look at it and it's a little tinged with a little bit of sadness, and a bit of fun too.
Sadness for what you missed?
What I missed, yeah, because I really enjoyed football. I loved it. That was my be-all and end-all. That's all I lived for.
So you've got to say, why did you do it?
I really have no idea at all. Because I don't gamble. I'm not a gambling man. I haven't a clue, could not say. But I just thought to myself, and stated it to everybody that would listen, that we'd never win at Ipswich anyway.
A Question of Sport is back with a new presenter, Sue Barker. She's taken over from David Coleman.
I think the chemistry between Sue Barker and the two captains is magic. Well done.
You're looking for more?
I'm looking for an answer.
Oh, that's my girl. Not like old Coleman here.
Now to a programme which in its long history has never, to my knowledge, been criticised on Points of View.
Dear Points of View, I've just watched your programme and was astonished by your comment about students.
Quite frankly, these students need to be kept in order, otherwise they'll be out breaking windows and stealing traffic cones.
How dare you make a comment like that about students? I happen to work very hard at university. I think an apology is needed to all those students out there that work hard.
How disgraceful that a programme which is meant to express the concerns of viewers happens to have reservations on particular groups, referring to them as destructive. It is clearly unfair. Did he not go to university? And did he break any windows in his time? Let him answer the question.
I cannot lie. I didn't break any windows.
We feel it is our duty as students to correct you on the comments made by your new presenter.
We do not steal road cones, but road signs.
It is not windows we smash,
But chairs?
Oh, thank you. All this started, you'll remember, when we heard from lots of people who thought Jeremy Paxman was too tough, particularly towards this hapless-looking victim.
Spell the word psoriasis.
Exeter Denny.
P-S-O-R-I-A-S.
No, no, you can't confer and you haven't a clue.
What Jeremy Paxman did was clearly nothing but sheer intimidation.
Make them cringe, I say. It's good for them. That lad will think twice before answering back to Mr. Paxman.
It happens that my son was the hapless student unable to spell psoriasis. Far from being intimidated by Mr. Paxman or feeling threatened by him, my son reports that this fearsome individual was in fact an absolute pussycat, who before, during and after the recording went out of his way to make the participants feel at ease and relaxed.
I can't think the politicians call him a pussycat, or is he on their side after all? Perhaps we should be told. Now, some astonishing news about one of our better-known comedians.
Have I got news for you? Yes, I have. Paul Merton has a day job on the phones in the Watchdog studio.
We thought we ought to check. And yes, there he is, Paul Merton on the phone just behind Anne. Paul Merton moonlighting? We asked Watchdog what was going on. The Merton lookalike is in fact Michael Tuft, a researcher. We said, prove it. They sent him along. Does he look like Paul Merton? Well, here's the real thing, and here's Michael, who's obviously so fed up with being told he looks like Paul Merton, he's undergone a total change of image. Now, from a mysteriously appearing Paul to a mysteriously disappearing one, McCartney this time.
There was no disaster and no unexpected death. So why the change in the 2nd of October schedule of Clive Anderson's All Talk?
We rang the programme and they told us that Sir Paul's schedule was changed at the last minute and they hope he'll be on soon. They had to get 2 replacements.
I was very disappointed that only Michael Palin and a member from the split band Take That was on.
Well, I wonder if everybody was disappointed. Here's a line of conversation that might have developed differently with Sir Paul.
Do you feel, oh, I've kind of done it so quickly that I'd like to have stayed in one place a bit longer because there's so much more you can do about it?
Yes, I'd love to spend longer in some of those places. It is a bit sort of whizzed through. Hello, bye, Chile. Ooh, Mexico. Ooh, there we go. Just, are you Mexican? Hello. Thank you very much. On my eye.
I mean, what ultimately is the point of your programmes? What would you say? Is it?
Worthy of Jeremy Paxman, that, isn't it? Not much point in your programme, is there? Animal people next.
I object to the bleeped-out language of animal people.
Well, no bad language, bleeped or otherwise, in this bit.
In studying their eating habits, Ingrid noticed another factor which draws roos to roads. In times of drought, one of the few sources of moisture available to them is the morning dew which condenses on the road surface. And the runoff from that dew means that any new growth there is at the side of the road. They know the cars are there, but the lure of food and water is just too great.
Some happy memories have been returning over the past few weeks with the reruns of some of Michael Parkinson's old interviews from the 1970s.
Good to see that you're replaying some of the classics. I'd like to know if those are on video and available for purchase.
Well, there are no plans to make them available at the moment, but they are still coming up fresh as ever. Here's Bette Midler in full spate giving Parky a bit of a going-over.
Oh, they told me you were in show business. Oh, I didn't know you were a journalist. Well, how dreary. Oh, that's unkind. You really, I didn't know you were serious. Oh, I thought you were one of those song and dance men like Bruce Forsyth. I was waiting for you. Well, they play that cheesy intro music for you. I thought you were going to do a buck and wing. Is that a rug?
No, it's not a rug. You're a fool. Isn't she great? Now, Crime Beat.
I would like to congratulate the programme you've just put on Crime Beat about motorcycles. Really fascinated about that because I need a motorcycle myself.
Good. Or were they straying into dangerous territory, helping the criminals?
Having been the victim of 4 motorcycle thefts in the past 2 years, I was thrilled to see exactly how to break into a motorbike lock. So I presume were the thieves.
Here's a bit of undercover filming that gives nothing away.
The owners of this motorbike want it to be stolen. It's a police decoy. A squad of undercover detectives with a hidden camera are trying to trap a known thief.
We're obviously having to make a judgment here what we're going to do about him at this point, and it was decided just to let him go a little bit longer, because at the moment he hasn't committed any offences at all. He's about to make a decision about what to do, whether to leave it and go on his bike or take that bike. And at that point, I said, go. And there come the officers round the corner. And he's arrested. And I'm told by people on the street that he doesn't steal motorbikes in Belgravia anymore.
Which leads elegantly to a pair of Belgravia bikers, the redoubtable two fat ladies. There's a steady trickle of comments on the lines of,
"It is not hygienic to prepare food whilst wearing a ring or nail polish."
well, we'll let them know. A bit of nail polish in the kedgeree isn't half as dangerous as the circus stunt they got up to at the end of their last programme. They've been cooking for a classic bike rally, and it's time to wend their weary way home. It's goodbye for them and from me.
I don't know, Jennifer. You know, all those motorcyclists have given me a taste for it, really. You never let me have a go driving.
You've never asked to have a go driving. You're entirely welcome.
Well, what about now?
Okay.
Keep it steady.
There we go.
Well done.
Boom.
Yes, I like this.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, how's the sidecar?
Sidecar's very comfortable. I feel like snug as a bug in a rug.
Well, it's almost goodbye. Last week, we brought joy to viewers in the Isle of Man, restoring their island home to our map. But the joy was short-lived.
We have just seen the end of your programme tonight, in which you apologise for omitting the Isle of Man from your map.
Then as the credits roll, what do we notice? But still no Isle of Man on the map.
It's so embarrassing.
Both the Post Office and the BBC do seem to leave the Isle of Man out on occasion. It's a very important little island. To me, it's very important. I happen to be a Cockney, and I'm 73 years old, and over the years I really don't feel we've been fair to them. The presenter would have done better to have said nothing at all, especially not to have put that silly map up with two little dots.
I better keep my mouth shut, but we need to put the Isle of Man properly on the map. Would this do? If you have any comments on BBC television programmes, please write to Points of View, BBC Television, London W12 7TS, or phone or fax on 0181 811 1050. The email address is pov@bbc.co.uk. And if you do get in touch, please leave a daytime and evening number so we can call you back.
In the next episode of The Locksmiths.
They're making return visits.
The burglars?
Well, there's only so many streets in town.
We could set a trap for him.
Brilliant! With me as the cheese.
I will not be a victim. Do you hear what I'm saying? I refuse to be a victim.
You've got a lot on your plate. She was your wife.
Still is. I'll stay here.
No, I want to.
For heaven's sake, girl, for once in your life, will you do as you're told? The Locksmith continues tomorrow, 9:30, BBC1.
It's 1941 and the full horror story of the Holocaust continues with the Nazi invasion of the Soviet Union on BBC 2 in a couple of minutes. You're watching BBC 1. Now at last, it seems, Joe Brand has found true love.